What's happening, everyone? Welcome back to the workshop. I hope you guys are all keeping well. Now, in this video, I'm going to be making a decorative rustic style lamp, complete with antique fittings. There's a little bit of joinery in this, dovetails, that kind of thing. It's kind of inspired by a roof truss, an old roof truss that I saw in an old Tudor mansion that I was in not so long ago. So some beautiful woodwork up in the attic. So that's kind of what inspired this lamp, this kind of design. So yeah, we're going to build this in this video, complete with all the electrics and, like I said, antique switches and all that kind of good stuff. So without further ado, let's crack on and build ourselves a lovely rustic decorative lamp. Okay, let's very quickly run through what I'm using for this project. So I'm going to make it out of walnut. I have a nice little piece of it here. So this is roughly, as it stands now, it is 30 mil. So that's just over, or just under 1.5 inches roughly. And it's 135 millimeters wide. So that's just over, that's nearly, say, 5.5 inches there or thereabouts. So I'm going to have to mill this down. I want to keep as much of this material as I want. I don't want to lose too much in the width, so we'll have to machine it down. It's just in a rough cut state at the minute. Then I have a lovely salvaged switch here. So this is kind of an antique switch. You can see it there. So I'm going to clean this up. You can buy these new. There is some places where you can still buy these. They're quite expensive to buy new, but you can get them salvaged. I salvaged a bunch of these out of a job that I was working on, and yeah, very nice indeed. The lamp holder, then this is an Edison screw, so this is an E27. All these lamp holders and equipments I use for building all my lamps, I get them off Amazon. I have links in the description if you guys want to check it out. We have some lovely then cord. So this is a rope cord or rope flex. So it's nice and decorative, so it's perfect for this. That's just a few of the bits. As for the design then, I have it just roughly sketched out here. So switch will be here, lamp will hang down. We'll use kind of an LED, kind of an Edison style, really low output bulb. Again, it's just for an effect. And I wanted to kind of look like a piece of a structure. That's kind of what I had in my mind. So like a roof truss, like this is just a piece of an attic, that kind of thing. I wanted to kind of have that rustic kind of, yeah, like structure look to it. So we're going to have a brace piece. So we'll dovetail here, and we'll brace it across then. So it'll all make sense as we're going through the project. So my first job is just to mill this up, get it into a prepared state. So that's what I'll do first. So I just got a little bit of planer snipe, so I just want to address that before I go any further. It's just on one side, so I just want to take that out. There we go. That solves that problem. Okay, so now that I've addressed all the snipe, I'm just going to cut this to its final dimensions. So I want to cut my base out of it, which is 250 millimeters. Then I'm going to cut 300 millimeters and split that in half and chop one of those down then to 200 millimeters. And that will give us all our components for making the main part of our frame. Okay, so we have all our components cut. That's my base. So my switch is going to sit right there on my base. This is my upright, which will go here. And this is the piece that the lamp will hang out of. Now I'm going to dovetail this with one large dovetail into this, one large dovetail into the base. So we're going to cut them. Our switch will sit here, like I said, and our lamp will hang down. And then what we'll be looking at then is the brace pieces after we have our dovetails in. So I'm looking at something like that. One of these either side. We have to cut these in as well. So we leave some protruding top and bottom. We'll do a nice little detail on the end of them, just to kind of give it a kind of a roof truss kind of look. A kind of a look of a structure is what I'm going for. So yeah, that's a piece is 20 by 20, so probably 3/4 by 3/4 roughly, if you guys are following along with the measurements. And once I have this all dovetailed in, then I'll decide whereabouts I want to position this, what's going to look best. So we'll make that decision in a few minutes, but first thing we need to do is cut our dovetails. Okay, I will crack on now and cut out all these dovetails. I'll roll in some footage of me doing it. I won't go into explaining how to cut dovetails. I've so many videos on that already, but I'm just going to go with 2 large dovetails, one top and bottom. So we'll have 1 large dovetail for each piece, and that will be nice and strong. And again, it's just a little decorative detail. So that's going to go in there, and this guy, the dovetail, is going to be on this part. So make sure our depth is correct. Yep. We can mark this. Right guys, the dovetails are all cut and fitting nicely. I have my top piece just glued together, so I need to get this together before I can proceed, mark out my brace pieces and then cut them out. So I just wanted that together. It would make that job a little bit easier. Now, I need to start thinking about the electrics. So they have to go into our base. So I'll get you guys in for a closer look and just explain what it is that I'm going to do here. Okay guys, so we have to start thinking about the electrics now at this point. So here's my base, here's my tail for my pin from my dovetail. That's what's going to go in there, and my switch is going to sit right about there. Now, the issue we're going to have is I have to get a cord or flex to my switch, and then I have to get a cord or flex up to the lamp holder itself. So we need 1 in from our socket and 1 out up to our lamp holder. So I'm going to have to route the underneath side of this. Now, because these old switches, there's no room in them, you can only put the 2 live wires into it, you can't put your neutrals and earths in them. I'm going to have to cut a recess here to join my neutral and earth to my flex. So I'm going to route a channel to here, route a channel to here. Hopefully you guys can see that. And then I'm going to route out this rectangular section here. That will do then for my connections for my neutral and earth will go in there. And then I can just make a lid, put a cap that will fit on there, and that will hide the connections under there. So flex from our socket into our connection box right here, and then flex out to our lamp from the connection box as well. So we're just going to route 2 channels straight down here and then route this guy out. So let's crack on and do it. It'll all make sense. You'll see it all come together if you don't see what I'm doing right now. Right guys, I'm set up just to route my 2 channels here. So I just have my featherboard set up as a stop. So when I hit my stop, I know I've gone far enough. So I'm going to take multiple passes until I reach a depth of about 10 millimeters. So that should be more than enough. So let's crack on and do it. Okay guys, this is where we're at. I have my 2 channels for my flex. I've just routed out this area for doing my connections. So you can see now the flex will come in around there. I can do my joints in here. So we have 1 in and 1 out. And then I just made a little lid. That will be a friction fit for now. So that'll be tapped down, just a little child here. So I can pry it back out. I have notched here and here at the ends of the dados, so it won't compress the cord when I push this down. There's still plenty of room to get underneath this. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking at there now. So next I just want to clean up this switch, just polish it up, clean it up, get some of the dirt off it. I have to address some of the contacts inside, so I'll crack on and do that now. Okay, I'm going to leave some of the patina on the outside So I don't want to clean this too much. I've just cleaned off the porcelain base. Now, one area you need to pay attention to in these switches, if I get the camera to focus on that. There we go. So you can see how the contacts are made. That lifts up. Switch closes the contact between either side. Now you can see there's lots of corrosion here, oxidization on the copper. So you want to make sure you clean all that off. Anywhere you get oxidization, you get resistance. Anywhere you get resistance, you get heat. And you can have your switch burn out on you. Now it's only going to be a very, very small load. It's an LED bulb after all, so it's a tiny load. But still, you want to pay particular attention to anywhere you have contacts with corrosion on them and oxidization. Give them a clean out. So I clean these off now, and this switch then is nearly ready to go. Okay, so the next thing I need to do is just line up my cable entries. So for my 2 wires, they go in here and here. There's my terminals right there. So I have my center line marked there. Just going to line up my switch. I'm just going to use a small drill bit just to mark where I need to drill the hole. Switch back out of the way. There and there. Then I can just widen them out and they're into my cavity for my terminals. Okay, so my dovetail is all glued up now, so I'm just taking it back out. So now we can get on with recessing in our brace pieces. So this is what's going to make it look like a kind of an A-frame, like an attic rafter kind of effect is what I'm going for. A roof truss, that kind of thing. So I'm going to cut this out. So I have it marked out now. I've measured 80 millimeters out from the corner, both sides. Lined that up with my marked it both sides, and I've marked it for depth as well. So I got to just remove this material here and do that on both sides. So that's my next task. Some more sawing, cutting and chopping with the chisel. Let's get on and do that. Right guys, there we go. All our notches are now in place on both sides. So that was just a combination of the handsaw, the chisel and the router plane, and they are all knocked out nicely. So that cross piece is going to go in there just like that, and the same then on the other side. Good snug fit. Just like that. So I'm going to cut the 2 of these to length. They'll be slightly protruding back and front. I put a little decorative detail on them. But before I do any of that, I'm going to have to sand all this up because it's going to be hard to sand in between these pieces when they're in place. So I'll sand this up. I'm going to glue them in place and let that set overnight, and then we'll jump back in and continue on with the project. You guys don't want to be watching me sanding. So yeah, like I said, sand, glue, and then we'll jump back in tomorrow. Okay guys, it is the following morning for me, and this is now all glued up, so looking quite nice indeed. Still some sanding to go on it, but the next step I have to do is to drill some holes in this to weave the cord or flex in through. So it's going to come in through here, back out through the middle, in through here, up through here, and then down through the light like that. So I have a number of holes I'm going to drill, so take this to the drill press, drill this up, and then I can glue it to a base, let that set up, and then we're nearly there then. It's just a bit of sanding, a bit of finishing, and to do the electrics after that. So let's crack on. Right, one last hole to drill, and that is for the light fitting itself. Now we have a couple of options here. We could use a crush gland, which that screws onto. That will catch the flex or the cord, and we could leave some of the cord hang through and just let the light bulb lamp holder dangle, which is quite a nice look too. But I think I'm going to screw mine directly into the timber here. So I'm going to use this little guy here. Get the camera to focus on that. There we go. So it's just a little threaded insert. So my light fitting will thread into this. just like that. So I'm going to fit that threaded insert in here, screw this up into it. So I have one more hole to drill straight through for the cord, and then fit this guy in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drill some of the way in with a bit that's the exact width of this, and then I'll drill through with a narrower bit all the way through to take the cord through. So let's do that. Okay, so I'm just going to start with a 12mm bit. That's the width of my threaded insert, and then finish out the hole with an 8mm bit. So just line that up. Just going to eyeball this for perpendicular. Let's check for depth. That's going to be a good compression fit, so I'm just going to go a small bit deeper. A little bit of glue then just to hold that in. But okay, we're good for depth there. Like I say, I'll be able to compression fit that in. The threads will catch. A little bit of glue, and that's never going to come out again. So it'll actually thread in if I twist it, which is good. So finish off that with the 8mm bit then, and we can glue this together. Now a little bit of sanding to do before I put this back together. So a little bit awkward to stand in between these pieces. I just want to get all the glue marks off. So just before I put the base on and make it even more awkward, we'll get this done. Now, get my coffee, my morning coffee. It's real early in the morning, so my face probably hasn't woken up yet, but the project has to crack on. So I'll get on with the sanding of this now, then we glue it together. And then once that's all done, we can look at getting the electrics in. Oh, cannot operate without coffee in the mornings. Okay, all the preliminary sanding is now done, so we can glue it to its base. And once this is set up, then it'll be a case, a little bit more sanding, get the finish on it, and once the finish is dried, then we'll start fitting the electrics. There you go. Don't want to overdo it with the glue. It. Just make sure we keep it good and square, and that's not too bad at all. Right, get a little bit of clamping pressure on that, and yeah, should be good to go. Really happy with how this is turning out actually. But yeah, that's it glued to its base now. So let that set up. Like I said, we'll get a finish on it, a little bit more sanding, then a finish, and then we can do the electrics. Okay guys, we are all glued up. See our dovetails there, top and bottom. Yes, everything's ready to go. It's all sanded up. I also have the threaded insert is now in place. You can see it there. So it's going to get a finish on this. Let that finish dry, and it's going to put an oil finish on it. I have some of this food safe finish, and it puts quite a nice finish on stuff. Usually use it for chopping boards and stuff like that, but like I said, it does put a nice oil finish on things. So we're going to use that. And once this all dries, then we can start getting the electrics on. So we're almost there. It's starting to take shape. This should bring out the lovely walnut colour. And when you get the finish on, it helps highlight the dovetails a little bit better. As you can see, the end grain contrast to the side grain. You can see him there. Very nice. So I'll get on and get the rest of the finish on this now, and we'll jump back in. Okay guys, the finish is on. Just a couple of coats because I wanted just like a satin finish too. I don't want a gloss finish, so I want to keep the wood as natural as possible. That's the kind of effect I'm going for. So just a couple of coats and put it on, wipe it off, and it's good to go. Now, I'm going to crack on with the electrics. I'm not going to cover all the electrics in this video. I have an actual lamp making playlist, and I have a full video on all lamp electrics, all the different type of bulb holder switches and stuff, how to wire them all up. So that's contained in a video. If I was to put it into this video, it would make this video another half an hour longer. So I'm just going to start wiring this. I cut in a couple of shots so you guys can see me wiring it, and I'll get through it as quickly as possible. And yeah, we're almost there, and we'll jump back in then when it's time to test this thing out. So let's crack on. My first job is to wire the bulb holder, and yeah, it's very straightforward. Just a couple of connections, and again, like I said, I have a full video on how to wire all this stuff up. It's a dedicated video, so I'll crack on to this. Right guys, we are all finished up, so the electrics are all in place. Lamp holder's in, switch is in, our cord, our flex, or the plug top is on it. And you can see underneath then, so we have our cable in and our cable out to our lamp holder, and all our connections are hidden under here. Now, if I was making this to sell, I would probably put screws in this, or at minimum magnets. This is a compression fit. That's never going to come out unless I pry it out. But again, if you were selling this to someone, I would recommend maybe you put screws in the base, just so that no one can go tampering with the connections underneath. But everything is nice and safe there now. Everything is grounded and earthed. So yeah, I'm really happy with how this turned out. So we have a number of bulbs here now, so let's put them in and let's test it out. Okay, let's get our bulbs in now. These are all kind of the same filament as in all these. It's actually just LEDs with a fake filament, so they don't produce any heat. It just kind of gives a kind of an old-timey bulb effect. So we're just different sizes. Screw that in, so we've a smaller one, which I'm kind of liking that one. Slightly larger one, and then we have the big round one. So again, I think the smaller one is my favourite so far. But yeah, there we go. That is pretty cool, and I'm really happy with how that turned out. Again, I love making lamps. It's one of my favourite things to do, mixing the woodworking with the electrical side of things. Now, nobody ever watches my lamp making videos, but you know, it's I enjoy making them anyway. But that's really nice. So let me get the camera in for a close-up on that and see if I can show you what that bulb actually looks like. Sometimes it just looks like a bright light on the camera, but it's actually not. It's a nice little filament, and it's a decorative kind of effect, kind of a light. So I'll give you guys a close-up. I'll just turn the exposure on the camera down, and you can see what I'm seeing. So I have to get turn it right down so you guys can actually see the filament or the element on the camera. Now that's exactly how I see it, obviously brighter and in daylight, but the camera can't do both. So you can see the nice effect that that bulb has. It's kind of a fake filament. The LEDs are in the base of it, and it shines through cut glass, which gives you that effect. So it's really nice. But like I said, it's hard to capture these things on camera. If I wind the exposure back up again, it just tends to get bright, as you can see. But that's not what it looks like to the human eye. Yeah, so there you go. Okay guys, there we go, another project complete. Now I have to say I'm really happy with how this turned out. I love making lamps, like I've said already. I've made a number of them now, from shoji lamps to shadow box lights, light fittings, all that kind of good stuff. I have like a full, like I said, a lamp and light making playlist on my channel if you guys are interested. I take it you how to do all the electrics, different bulb and lamp choices, all that kind of stuff. So I've made a good few now, and I'm really happy with this one. Exactly as I envisaged in my head. Came out really nice. Again, a roof truss was kind of my inspiration for this, and kind of an old style roof truss. I should say. I was recently not so long ago up in an old Tudor mansion that's not too far from me, and it was one of the parts of the tours to go through the attic. You can see all the beautiful woodwork of the old trusses, that kind of thing. So that was kind of my inspiration for making this piece. So yeah, I'm really happy with how it came out. Again, these are decorative lights. They're not to light a room. They're just for effect. But it's lovely with the little antique features, especially that real old switch and the rope cord going through it as well. Really nice feature. So yeah, as always guys, hopefully you've got something from this video. Hopefully it inspires you to get out and make something if you want to try and make this yourself. There's really not much to it, and you can end up with some beautiful stuff. And they look great in a room, giving that nice effect. So yeah, that's it guys. As always, if you could give the video a thumbs up, that really helps me out a lot. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button and that bell button. Majority of people watch my videos aren't actually subscribed to my channel. So that's the best way you can possibly help me out and say thanks if you enjoyed this stuff, is just to hit that subscribe button, hit the like button. Comments and questions below. As always, I try to reply to everybody if I can. So yeah, that's it guys. Another project done and dusted. I'm gonna get out of here now. Really like this one. So yeah, let me know what you think. I'll see you in the next one guys. Take it easy.